So before a word is even spoken, observers are already asking silent questions. Does this person seem confident? Does this person seem capable? Trustworthy? I want to begin with something that may feel uncomfortable. If nothing changes after the aha moment, then transformation has not happened. So what has happened instead is entertainment. And see, many women, they watch a video, they go to a conference, and they feel encouraged. They recognize the problem and they agree with what they hear. And in that moment, they think, this is exactly what I needed. However, the next morning arrives and the same pattern returns. The woman stands in front of her closet and realizes that she is taking longer than she planned. She tries on one top and decides it doesn't actually quite feel right. She tries another option and still feels uncertain. She adjusts her clothing, looks again in the mirror, and after small adjustments, she eventually leaves the house feeling slightly drained and not even confident. This experience is extremely common. Most women don't struggle because they lack discipline, taste, or potential. They struggle because they're trying to transform alone. Research actually shows that people who pursue growth inside a community are up to 65% more likely to follow through on actual, tangible, meaningful change. And it's not because they're stronger, because they're supported. They've got accountability. They are able to be reinforced with this new behavior. And that's what most women are missing. Not more information, not another checklist, but a room. A room where standards are higher, where self-doubt isn't normalized, where growth is expected, not explained away. The Style Empowerment Society exists for women who know what they are capable and that they are capable of much more, have been telling themselves that they don't have the time or it's not necessary. Yet confidence isn't built in the spare moments. It's built through alignment, repetition, and being seen. Style here isn't about clothes. It's about presence, identity, and remembering the worth that has always been yours. But it got buried under responsibility, noise, and comparison. When women gather around clarity instead of chaos, transformation becomes inevitable. If you are ready to stop circling your potential and start stepping into it, the Style Empowerment Society is where that begins. Join us. It's free to enter, and it's where becoming her stops being theoretical and starts becoming lived. Insight without implementation does not create change. Insight without implementation only creates a temporary emotional response. So high achieving women do not need more emotional responses. They need structure. Today we are going to answer one clear question. How does a woman build calm authority that actually shows up in her daily life, starting with something as simple as her closet, without needing to become someone else? A woman does not need to become louder in order to be taken seriously. She does not need to follow every trend in order to appear relevant. She does not need dramatic attention in order to be respected. What she needs instead is steadiness. She needs clarity about who she is and how she's showing up. She needs alignment between her identity and her presence. Most women believe that their problem is clothing. They assume that they need more options, more outfits, more inspiration, and more variety. In most situations, that assumption is not correct. And many women actually want is steadiness. They want to walk into a room and feel internally anchored. They want their presence to communicate confidence before they even begin speaking. They want their daily decisions to feel simple so they can use their mental energy for responsibilities that actually matter. Research shows that adults make between 30,000 and 35,000 decisions every single day. Your brain is constantly evaluating information and making choices. You choose what to respond to. You choose what to ignore. You choose what deserves your attention. Psychologists call this decision fatigue. And decision fatigue occurs when the brain makes too many decisions in such a short period of time. And when this happens, the quality of those decisions quickly begins to decline. Stay-at-home moms often deal with this when all the kids are asking different things at the same time. So many decisions need to be made, such a small amount of time. It gets overwhelming. Studies show that this pattern shows this. Judges actually grant fewer paroles later in the day after they've already made so many decisions. People make poorer food choices when they're mentally tired. Impulse control decreases when the brain carries too much cognitive load. Now consider the first visible decision of your day, getting dressed. If that decision feels confusing or frustrating, your brain begins the day already working harder than necessary. And oftentimes, you're going to resort to the clothes that are the most comfortable and not necessarily pushing you into the next level where you want to go. Getting dressed should support your day. And if it drains you, something is misaligned. One way to think about this is to imagine driving a car with the parking brake partially engaged. The car's still going to move forward, but the engine must work much harder than it should. Misalignment often feels exactly like that. Life continues to move forward, but it requires more effort than is necessary. And if this problem is never solved, nothing really dramatic happens, but a woman is going to continue to function. She continues to care for her family. She continues to work hard and show up for her responsibilities. Something subtle continues as well. She spends valuable mental energy on small decisions. She arrives at important moments already depleted. And in response, she prepares more than is actually necessary. She explains herself more than necessary. She works harder in order to compensate. Over time, she begins to describe this experience as exhaustion. Many capable women are not actually exhausted. It's just they have a slight misalignment. And misalignment, it's not going to appear in a big dramatic way. It's going to appear as small bits of friction throughout her life. It appears as hesitation. It appears as repeated small adjustments. When this happens every day, it slowly erodes at your sense of authority. And leadership research actually shows that people form impressions extremely quickly. So some studies actually estimate that people form initial judgments within the first 7 seconds of meeting someone. So before a word is even spoken, observers are already asking silent questions. Does this person seem confident? Does this person seem capable? Trustworthy? Presence communicates long before speech begins. There was a moment that made this lesson very clear to me. So it happened during one of my first speaking engagements for a ministry that I was working with. And I had arrived prepared. I had studied the material carefully for months previously. I had written notes and I practiced my message. I knew exactly what I planned to say. However, I stood in front of the audience and I felt something unexpected. I felt insecurity. A quiet voice in my mind had begun asking uncomfortable questions. The voice asked whether I truly even belonged in this position. The voice asked whether I was even qualified to speak in that moment. Even though I had prepared for months, I still felt uncertain, and I began to speak anyway. During the middle of my message, something shifted. I suddenly realized something very simple, and I knew the material. I had done the work. I was prepared for that moment. The problem was not my ability, the problem was that hesitation. There was a tiny bit of friction. I had not fully stepped into my position yet. The moment I decided to stand fully in that role, everything had changed. My posture changed. My voice became steadier. My presence changed. I did not become someone new. I didn't have to change. I simply stopped hesitating. Authority is not arrogance. Authority is agreement with your assignment. Many women are capable of leadership. However, many women have not fully agreed with their role yet. Many women receive advice that sounds helpful, but it doesn't actually solve the real problem, the root of the issue. And one common piece of advice is to simply be confident. Confidence cannot be commanded. Confidence develops through taking action and having that experience. Another common suggestion is to buy more clothing. You don't have the right options, and so you need to increase your supply. More options doesn't actually help. It often just increases your confusion rather than solving the problem. A well-known experiment demonstrated this pattern using jam in a grocery store. Researchers created a display with 24 different flavors of jam, and many shoppers, they stopped to look. Very few shoppers actually made a purchase, and later the display was changed to only 6 flavors that were available. Purchases increased dramatically. Too many options creates hesitation, misalignment. Fewer options created decisions. People took action. The same pattern appears in many different closets. When a closet contains many items that almost work, the brain experiences friction every morning. Another suggestion is to copy someone else's style. So, trends. This may look correct externally. Often it feels uncomfortable internally. Psychologists explain this through a concept called possible selves theory. So each person carries an internal picture of who they are becoming. When that appearance does not match the direction that the brain senses, inconsistency. And that inconsistency creates tension. Another belief is that improvement should wait. Many women believe that they should improve their wardrobe after they lose weight, after a certain time period has passed. Others believe that they should wait until life becomes calmer. This delays identity. When identity is delayed, confidence is delayed as well. A woman does not need a different body to practice authority. All you need to do is come into agreement with who God says you are, with who you are supposed to become for this stage of your life. Real change is simple, but it does require structure. The first step is identity. A woman should ask herself one important question: who am I becoming in this season of life? She should not focus on who she used to be. You should not focus on what culture celebrates. You should focus on the woman that God is shaping you to become. You may be becoming a steady leader. You may be becoming a present and thoughtful mother. You may be becoming a woman who carries calm authority. Clarity begins internally. The second step is to create a simple wardrobe system. Now, you should identify a small number of clothing silhouettes that flatter your body. You should select 2 or 3 colors, core colors, that mix and match easily. This is going to create consistency. A smaller system, it's going to reduce decision fatigue. And the third step is preparation. a woman should choose her outfit the night before. Or what I typically like to do is Sundays, those are my planning days. So I plan my week, I plan my outfits, I plan everything that I'm gonna make for dinners, for breakfast, everything Sunday. Sometimes I do it Saturdays. You choose what works best for you. So this is going to remove unnecessary decisions in the morning, and you could follow this simple guideline. You should consider your role, so the environment that you're going to be entering throughout the week. Consider the message that you want your presence to communicate. Preparing in advance protects your mental energy. The fourth step is presence. You should practice calm physical presence. And you should slow your speaking pace slightly. You should stand with steadiness. Your posture is so important because presence communicates confidence before words are even spoken. Confidence grows through repeated, aligned action. And tonight, I encourage you to try something simple. Choose tomorrow's outfit before going to sleep. Think about your role for tomorrow. Think about the environment you're going to enter. Think about your message you want your presence to communicate. Prepare your clothing in advance and wear that outfit for tomorrow without second guessing your decision, and observe how you feel throughout the day. Many women notice that they feel calmer and a lot more grounded, and this is often the beginning of alignment. And if you want structure, accountability, and community while practicing these ideas, you are welcome to join the Style Empowerment Society. So this community is designed for women who want their identity, their presence, and their style to align with the life that they are building. So the community is free to join, and you will find the link down below. If this message has resonated with you, I encourage you to comment the word aligned. You can also share this message with another woman who may need to hear it. And finally, consider subscribing so that you don't miss future conversation. Remember, style is more than what you wear. It is how you step into your God-given purpose. I will see you in the next one.